everyone, and welcome to another round of 12 News Weekend. I'm Karima Devine. Here at 12 News, we strive to bring you the very best journalism in the Valley. That is why each week we'll rewind the tape to show you some of our best stories. Some will make you laugh, some will make you cry, and some will make you feel. This is 12 News Weekend.
Mike Gomez has seen a lot during his 100 years, most of it good. Most of it, except when he turned 18.
You see so much bodies floating around and everything, but you know what? It never dawned on me to be afraid. It just, you don't think about those things. You're just trying to survive.
34,000 Americans waded ashore that day in 1944. Private Mike Gomez, a long way from his home in Phoenix, was one of them. Under heavy fire, doing anything that he could to survive the Nazi hell that was raining down on them, he jumped into a foxhole on the beach and couldn't believe his eyes.
I jumped in there, so in the hole there was a neighbor of mine, for God's sake, and we grew up together. He was in there already, his name Frank. And I said, Frank, and we put our arms around each other. And I told him, I said, Frank, I have to get out of here and leave you. I gotta catch up with my troops, with the troops that I belong to. And he was that second. A seashell hit, it killed him. And that was the saddest thing of my life.
Mike survived Normandy and joined up with General Patton's famed 4th Armored Division. In the bitter cold, they covered 150 miles in just 19 hours, making their way into Belgium, where Mike once again found himself under heavy fire in the Battle of the Bulge.
And General Patton happens to come right by and says, shoot that rifle, soldier, And we were trained really at that time, which was cruel. Up to this date, I say, why did I do that? Her probably family are looking for him and stuff like that. And that stays in my mind now that I'm an old person.
Miraculously, Mike made it back home, back to his beloved Phoenix, where Dora, his wife of all of just a few months when he shipped off, was waiting for him.
We all do. We all do, our wives and our loved ones and folks, all our folks and everything. I can tell you a great thing in life is to have somebody to love and learn from.
Dora loved Mike, and Mike loved Dora. He was home. They built a life together, had 3 kids, and Mike would once again leave his mark, this time in his home state, acquiring the land for the Central Arizona Project, assuring that Arizona would have water for years to come.
I was the first man to buy the whole property, the real estate, for the Central Arizona Project. To me, that was the top important thing, was bringing us the Central Arizona Project waters for the help of our farmers. That was why we built the Central Arizona Project to begin with.
Not only was the water flowing, but so were the years. And suddenly one day, Dora mentioned that when the time came, she wanted to be cremated.
Yeah, there to me was nobody that I loved as much as I did my wife. I even went against her when she said she wanted to be cremated.
As part of the 4th Armored Division, he helped liberate the Nazi concentration camps, where he saw things he'd never be able to unsee.
First thing you see was the furnaces, and you saw a lot of dead people. You couldn't help it but look inside the furnaces and see the bones there. You know what made me do? I prayed, blessed myself, and read out.
Some things aren't meant to be seen. But Mike came back to happier times, had a great life, And if there's one thing that he learned to love, it's a good glass of red wine. And since this was his birthday, we shared one. So, Mike, here's to a life that serves as a poignant reminder of the sacrifices made by the greatest generation. Here's to their sacrifices, their unyielding spirit. May we honor their memory as we raise our glasses and toast their bravery. Happy birthday, and many more.
I'm not mad with anybody. I love pastoring, I love preaching, but I'm tired. I've been doing this for 48 years.
48 years is a long, long time. And after 48 years, Pastor Warren Stewart is retiring. Stewart was one of the most visible voices in the 1980s and early 90s to get Arizona to recognize Martin Luther King Day. But he says that was never his plan.
I was maligned by some people that, he's just always in front of the TV camera. I never even volunteered to lead the King Fight. I walked into a meeting late and they said, there's our leader.
The governor at the time, Evan Meekum, said he didn't think King deserved a holiday. The NFL even took a Super Bowl away from the state until it recognized the day.
We are obviously operating with a different set of principles.
The 12 News archive from 40 years ago shows Stewart meeting with Meekum. The meeting was less than productive.
It was pretty well cast that we wouldn't have a meeting on the mines. I think it's good to have a meeting like this.
But in the end, Stewart and the coalition prevailed, and he was there as Governor Rose Mofford signed it into law.
A lot of people try to just pigeonhole me to the whole King holiday fight, but I mean, we were able to get the state legislature, the treasurer of the state to divest money from companies that were doing business with South Africa under apartheid.
But Stewart was always a pastor first.
Here's where I do.
And last year,
where I've been doing my work.
He started telling his congregation he was retiring.
Oh, it's been an emotional roller coaster for me too. I mean, I have shed many tears. I mean, I've been here all of my adult life.
Pastor Stewart's never even held another job, not as a waiter, busboy, nothing.
How do you walk away from the only job you've ever held?
How do you walk away?
With joy.
Joy and accomplishment. Few people hold the same job for half that time. But Warren Stewart will leave the church with more than a vacancy. He'll leave it with an expectation that whoever comes next will have to fill.
To continue to advocate Jesus and justice. That's it. Change whatever you want to change the color of the building, do whatever, but please don't change that this church has been a center in this nation and state and world for Jesus and justice.
The next man in this office hasn't stepped forward yet, but Stewart's leaving without regrets.
But it's time. I mean, God kind of showed me it's okay.
William Pitts, 12 News.
Normally in high school, if you're kind of the man on the team, there's really not a challenge for you in practice every day. On the prep level, that guy that you're playing against is pretty good too.
Phoenix's Skyline Prep is a program on the rise.
We're hitting the national stage more, and people are hearing about us, and we're going a lot more places.
Head coach Howard Thomas has 2 national championships to his name. He's worked with prep stars turned NBA draft picks DeAndre Ayton, Dalen Terry, and Josh Green.
And a lot of those guys I still communicate with, and they told me if it wasn't for prep, they wouldn't have gotten the advantage they had when they got to college and above.
These elite athletes still have regular classes and even prom, but their day-to-day high school experience includes multiple practices, hitting the weight room, traveling out of state for games, and being away from home for months.
And it's sort of a little more conducive to the college level.
We're in the gym a lot. We're in the gym right now, and I'm doing an interview, but it's good though. It's great. It's an adjustment being away from home, not seeing my mom and dad, but it's basketball, so you got to make sacrifices.
Skyline Prep's roster features different personalities and players hailing from as far as Australia, who all came to the desert to develop on and off the court.
Just a bunch of guys that came kind of from all over, but decided didn't matter how many miles they took, and they came all the way across to come here and put themselves on the map.
In Phoenix, Lena Washington, 12 Sports.
Oh yeah. An engine is revving, an ignition igniting. A jalopy to Ferrari transformation almost complete here at Driveline in Scottsdale.
Nice.
This place is the baseball version of an auto repair shop. They fidget, then fix.
There you go, that was sick.
And for Dylan Rock, he's almost back on the road.
That boy.
Dylan has a new swing, and he's found an old smile.
Finally, bro. I feel like I can get back to
better than I was before, and that's why I decided to come here, because I know they can help me.
Dylan's a former D1 college outfielder, drafted by the Blue Jays and at one point in Double-A.
I was playing really good ball, but then I broke my fourth metacarpal in my right hand.
Rock's minor league experience was rocky.
I want to say it was 8 weeks of rehab. Got back from that one, and pretty much immediately I broke my hamate bone in my left hand, so I had to have surgery on that one too. Then I didn't really work hard that off season because I was pretty frustrated and coming back from my hamate, trying to let that rest. Showed up to spring training not ready again and struggled really hard this past season, so that led to me getting released.
The feeling was a flat tire 10 minutes from home, and Dylan didn't feel like walking the rest of the way.
At the time, it almost felt like my baseball career was over.
But in October, he felt it was time for a toe. Dylan dropped everything in his home state of Texas to move to Phoenix to train.
I just didn't feel at peace with it. I knew I was good enough to keep playing. I know I'm good enough to keep playing. That was not how I wanted to end my career.
The destination was Driveline. The mechanic, this man.
You could tell there was just tons of juice in there, but he definitely wasn't using it the right way. Called a hook 'em drill.
Lead hitting trainer Elijah Boyer said he wouldn't have to work on work ethic.
I thought this guy's obsessed, you know? Like, just the way he goes about his daily work is what you want.
Boyer felt a like-minded kinship. He had taken the road less traveled as well.
I was working as an engineer at a nuclear power plant. I was doing control systems engineering, and I worked really hard to get that degree.
The diploma brushed aside for the pursuit of a passion.
We go from hitting, the smash ball with an underload 115 miles an hour to, all right, now here's 96 with sink. That combination of training is it's unreal, and I'd say it's a cheat code.
After 4 months together, Elijah and Dylan say they'd found the keys to success.
When you do that same thing and then you hit against the front side well, that's your very best.
My exit velocity went from, I was topping out at 107, 108, and now 110, 111.
But driving a baseball is only half the battle. Driving a car is where this comeback takes a turn.
I got 436 5-stars, 1 3-star, and 2 1-stars.
As an Uber driver to pay the bills and expensive training fees, Dylan says he's seen it all.
There's definitely been some strange instances, and I've dealt with quite a few intoxicated people.
And he never struggles for a conversation starter.
Tell them that I play professional baseball, been in the Blue Jays minor league system.
Dylan's mastered this system.
I pretty much just accept almost every ride. There have been different times wherever I tried picking and choosing, trying to get better rates, but usually that leads to waiting in between rides and such, so I just kind of accept all of them.
His baseball standards are in the same spot. And with Driveline's annual pro day in front of MLB scouts this weekend, he could soon swap the gig work for his life's work.
Hopefully I get picked up and I get to keep playing and have a really good year this year and see where we end up.
Dylan banking everything on a swing and a drive.
What I want, honestly, more than anything, so I am willing to give it everything.
I want another round. How much time do we have?
In Scottsdale, Jake Garcia.
Way better.
12 Sports.
Way better. Way better. Keep going.
Hey, she's one of the GOATs in our state. Last week, Seton Catholic's Karen Self became the winningest coach in Arizona high school girls basketball history. Tonight, the first home game. Jake Garcia mic'd up for the celebration.
Getting in high, Barrios. Yeah, Mia!
The celebration had to wait 96 hours. 4 days, that could have felt like forever. But for Coach Karen Self, there's always been power in patience.
Thank you.
The Seton Catholic head coach is now the winningest in Arizona girls high school basketball history. A record she set on the road. Tonight, a chance to relish at home.
Okay, thank you very much.
A pregame ceremony that honored her being the best.
That loud voice was my daughter.
Pageantry to celebrate her passion.
Yeah!
Her players determined to not let a loss ruin the luster of the day. The house packed with love, some of it tough.
When she started coaching, she didn't even know how to put a practice plan together.
Karen's younger sister, Carrie, witnessed a winning culture built from scratch. She played for her sister her senior season.
I always say that Karen redefined what hard work meant for me.
From family to friends.
She deserves all the accolades and recognition she can possibly get right now.
Fellow former Sun Devil Charlie Turner Thorne knows greatness when she sees it.
1, 2, 3, 7.
You're in the top, 99th percentile to win that many games.
An old foe knows that feeling.
It's my record that she broke, right?
Get to the corner, Fia. Want that ball, Fia?
Minor Webster said he was there to pass the torch.
If there was anybody that I would want to break my record, it's Karen Self.
A celebration of 833 wins. It quickly became 834.
It was a lot of emotions. I was nervous. I didn't want people to come out to a game and then have us not play well.
So if Friday was the record, tonight was the record set straight.
It was really heartwarming to see, how much my community has turned out to support this record. One high, Ezzy, one high, that's you, dead.
A night where Karen got her crown in front of a crowd all her own.
There's just a lot of love in the gym tonight.
In Chandler, Jake Garcia, 12 Sports.
1, 2, 3, seat pride, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, great. Yeah, let's go.
Which came first? The price of the egg or the scarcity? Turns out it's both. But either way, egg prices are way, way up.
We pulled the data on egg prices from the Bureau of Labor Statistics for the past 10 years. Check it out. From January 2014, it's fairly steady all the way over to here. Check out January of 23. That spike right there, that's bird flu. That's the first real bad spell we had with bird flu. Egg prices were $4.82 at that point. Then they dropped back down January of 2024. Here's where we are now, $4.15 on average across the country, and it's only going to go up from there.
The American Egg Board said in part that prices are high because of things outside the control of an egg farmer, and that the system is strained because of avian flu.
I do not see the light at the end of the tunnel. So it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Supply chain expert Hitendra Chaturvedi says as long as avian flu is infecting birds, there's not much anyone can do. Because if one bird tests positive for bird flu, the entire farm's worth of chickens has to be culled, killed off.
25 million, or about 8% of about egg-laying hens are affected, which means that they will have to be culled.
Chaturvedi says that creates an almost perpetual shortage. You have to kill the chickens, but then where do you get more chickens?
It's such a circular economy in which if you're going to cull, which you have to stop the spread, you are reducing the hens that are producing eggs as well as the chicken. So it's a chicken and egg situation. There you have.
Some experts say cage-free requirements in some states has led to slower production of eggs, which Chaturvedi says it has, but again, because of the flu.
60% of all the cases of this avian flu is cage-free hens. So yes, it is disproportionately impacting cage-free hens.
Arizona's Hickman Farms tells 12 News Arizona is actually in a slightly better position than states without big egg suppliers. But all the farms are doing anything they can to keep flu out of their livestock and their employees. William Pitts, 12 News.
Trump signed a barrage of executive orders after taking the oath of office, including declaring a national emergency at the U.S.-Mexico border and ending birthright citizenship, a right that's guaranteed by the Constitution.
The order prompting attorneys general from 22 states, including Arizona, to file lawsuits challenging its legality.
12 News journalist Bram Resnick is here with a look at what we can expect as this all unfolds. Bram?
And Mark, birthright citizenship has been a target of conservative groups for many years. They argue that the law granting automatic citizenship to children born in the U.S. is an incentive for undocumented immigrants. President Trump's order now sets in motion a legal battle that could end with a U.S. Supreme Court decision.
I will not allow Donald Trump to shred the United States Constitution.
Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays and fellow Democratic attorneys general are uniting to block a key piece of President Donald Trump's immigration crackdown.
In our minds, this is not even a close call.
Trump's executive order on birthright citizenship would end a nearly 160-year-old right in the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
That's a good one. Birthright. That's a big one.
The amendment confers American citizenship on anyone born in the U.S., including the children of undocumented immigrants.
We think we have good grounds, but you could be right. I mean, you'll find out.
When he signed the order hours after his inauguration, Trump was prepared for a court challenge. During his first term in 2018, Trump publicly questioned the 14th Amendment.
I think the language is pretty clear.
You think the language is clear and anyone born in this country is entitled to United States American citizenship?
The language is clear.
Then Republican Governor Doug Ducey defended birthright citizenship. It's been under attack for years from groups that favor restricting immigration.
It was never intended to be an invitation to people from all across the globe to say, come here, have a kid on U.S. soil, and you will have an automatic U.S. citizen.
Ira Melman is with the Federation for American Immigration Reform.
And one of the ways to deal with illegal immigration, to deter it, is to stop incentivizing it.
President Trump's executive order would affect babies born in the U.S. to parents who are, quote, unlawfully present or who have lawful but temporary status. The order is set to take effect in a month, but lawsuits will likely result in its being put on hold pending a final ruling on its legality, again, perhaps by the U.S. Supreme Court. Graham Resnick, 12 News.
ICE gets painted with a broad brush and often vilified.
Pete Stewart, a retired ICE deportation officer, says there are misconceptions about his former colleagues and those who work in the immigration enforcement field.
ICE is a very diverse group of people, of professionals from various backgrounds. You know, ICE is targeting primarily criminal aliens.
Stewart says President Trump's prioritization of immigration and border enforcement has led to a boost in morale within the law enforcement agency.
They want to be there, and they want to be part of the success, you know, of making those communities safer.
Questions have been looming large about possible ICE raids. Stewart believes much of the messaging around raids has been fear-mongering.
I mean, in terms of the last 4 years, there was zero enforcement. So yeah, you're going to see more people on the streets because they're going to be out there, you know, allowed to do their jobs.
The people really scared, worried, nervous.
Pastor Magdalena Schwartz says she's received questions from her church community in light of DHS announcing it will allow ICE agents to make arrests in schools and churches.
I told my people, don't worry about it. You have a criminal record. You never appear in court. Or you under deportation. Yeah, you have to be worried.
Stewart agrees and believes ICE would continue to be respectful of those areas, prioritizing criminals and those with final orders of removal.
I don't think they're going to be running in there, you know, and creating havoc. The percentage of people that would be in those areas is really negligible.
And according to ICE's annual report, taking a look at fiscal year 2024, there were about 146,000 arrests nationwide. That's through ICE's enforcement and removal operations. Mark?
And Bianca, just scrolling through social media over the last 48 hours or so, there has been so much speculation about raids, where they're allegedly happening. And there's just a ton of misinformation. What do we know about what's really happened so far here?
There's been so much misinformation on social media. You really can't log on to an app like X without seeing it. I can tell you we don't have specific confirmation of any of that activity here in the Valley. And up in Flagstaff, speculation even prompted Flagstaff PD to issue a statement to the community saying any reports about ICE conducting deportation operations there are false. Again, President Trump's border czar Tom Homan has stated during these enforcement operations, they will be prioritizing public safety threats. He does note, though, there could be collateral arrests.
Thanks again for tuning in. And remember, you can catch 12 News Weekend on Saturdays and Sundays on our YouTube channel and our streaming app, 12 News Plus. I'm Karima Devine. Have a great rest of your weekend.